All right, we are live. What's up, everybody? All right, welcome to another session of the Golf Club Podcast, Wednesday Hot Topics, where we always have a hot topic to discuss. We have some guests joining us tonight. We have another great show planned for you guys, and as always, if you guys tuning into the live show, thank you so much for always tuning in. If you guys value the content, you guys already know what to do. The best way to support the channel is to smash that like and subscribe button real quick. And of course, don't forget, this is a public stream. So if you do want to jump on, the link is in the description below on YouTube. Definitely come over if you're watching this from X, IG, Facebook, or Twitch. Come over to YouTube and you'll be able to get the link and jump on and be part of the panel. And if you have any questions or topics you guys want us to respond to, drop it through a super chat. If you need donations, drop it through a super chat. I'll definitely be able to give you guys a big shout out. And thank you so much for all the support and donations as well. And a quick shout out to my sponsor, Global Financial Impact. If you're looking for financial services for life insurance, health insurance, and college fund to set up for your kids, and to learn about financial literacy and how to be financially independent, reach out to Savannah and her team on Global Financial Impact. All her information is in the link below, in the description below on YouTube. So appreciate it. Thank you so much. But we'll go right into it. We have another topic to discuss on Wednesdays, and we have some guests joining us as always. Thank you so much for always tuning in. But I'll pass it back to you guys. We have some new faces, and of course, you guys know Big Dog as well. But I'll start with you. Yeah, I got it. That's a lot easier.
I told you. My name is Andrea. I am from Sonoma County, NorCal. And I'm a mom, and I am an accountant, pharmacy clerk.
All right. Thank you so much, Al.
Yeah.
All right. So we have another Cali guest on here on the panel. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast. And as always, Big Dog, go ahead and give yourself a quick intro.
How y'all doing? It's Big Dog Barking coming out of Memphis, Tennessee. I'm happily married for 19 years. Been with my wife for 20 years, 2 kids, and I'm ready to get into this conversation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Al. Thank you so much, Big Dog. Thank you for being part of the panel for tonight's Wednesday hot topic. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to get the live chat popping. Let me know what you guys think. I always appreciate your feedback on the live chat, and if you recognize these guests, definitely show them support on the live chat as well. But thank you so much. But the topic we're going to break down tonight, and this is something I saw, what's his name, on Anton's channel. You know Anton, right, Big Dog?
Yep, I know.
Yeah. So they were having a discussion on do women skip over the man they're supposed to marry? Okay, so this is going to be a great conversation. I know there's a lot of men and women out there. They want to attract a good man, good relationship. They want to get married. They want to have children. But this was actually an interesting conversation. They were just kind of discussing the observation of today's modern dating culture and how that's affecting long-term relationship dynamics, especially for women, to attract the men, the ideal man they want to marry long-term. So I'm going to play the clip real quick. We'll get to react to it, and I'll pass it back to you guys, and we can get everybody's responses, and we'll go right into the discussion at hand. Okay. All right, so let me play the clip real quick.
You're opening up yourself up to all of these spirits from different men in the first place.
How do you meet your husband if you don't date?
You already probably met him. He's the person that has your best interests at heart. He's the person that already was your best friend. He's the person that had your best interest. Most women skip over the man that they were supposed to marry already. That's the key. And then y'all pick the guy that y'all want. He ruins you, and then you expect for another guy to come back and pick up the pieces for you. That's not the way to do it. We remixing what relationships are supposed to be. You ain't even supposed to be dating until you get married.
So you met him at a quick trip, but you never dated him, but you were supposed to marry him.
No, you was raised with him. You were around him. You went to school with him. Most people.
That's not true.
All right, so that was the clip.
Open yourself up to all of these spirits.
All right, so that was the clip I saw. So it was an interesting. Let me go back. There we go. It was a interesting conversation, but I definitely want to pass it to you guys. What do you guys think? So, what's your reaction to that clip? And what's the response to the topic? What yes or no? Do women skip over the man they're supposed to marry? Let me start with you all. What do you think? What's your reaction to that clip? I know it's a small clip out of a 30-minute conversation, but I just wanted to uh, to point out the highlights of that conversation that's related to the topic. But yeah, what's your reaction to the to that clip, and also what's your thoughts about it? Because we know there's a lot of women out there, they do want to get married, they want to have family, they want to have
Yeah.
children, they want a good, healthy, long-term relationship. But a lot of them, don't. As they get older, they don't have the particular family or children or family or partner they want. Do women skip over the man they're supposed to marry? Go ahead.
People are so much more complex than that. Not everyone lives in a big city. Some people live in a small rural area like I do, and there's not that many options. I was with my children's father from the time I was 14 until I was 25. And so we weren't going to get married. So we split our ways. But as far as like generally, I do believe that it's true. Because of how society pushes that we need superficial things, like he has to have money and status and looks, versus the things that actually are conducive to having a happy, healthy, loving, mutually respectful, long lasting love that can actually grow. It seems like we're taught to seek things that fizzle out quickly versus the slow, long-term burn. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Like when I first was younger and I got with my kid's dad, I sought him out because of his consistency and stability and safety that he provided. And so when those things changed and were no longer there, that's when it started to go downhill. I think we're looking for the wrong thing. So yes, in general, I do believe that we will skip over the man that we're supposed to marry. But if we're believers, then God's going to make a way for it to work.
Okay. All right, so thank you so much. Thank you for your feedback and your perspective. I'll pass it to you, Big Dog. Big Dog, what are you thinking? What's your reaction to that clip? And do you think that most women, not all women, there's always extremes, but outliers, but do you think most women, do they skip over the man they're supposed to marry?
Well, first of all, I saw the clip before you played. I had saw it already. And I'm gonna tell you what I said when I first saw it is that some of these content creators be full of sometimes. It's like, I understand that you wanna, it happens. You can marry your high school sweetheart, you can marry the girl next door, the guy next door, and all that right there, but that's very rare for you to marry the person that you grew up with. Like, it don't happen all the time. Not every marriage is not like that. So in my personal opinion, it's like just like Andrea said, if you in a small city, small rural area, you ain't got too many options. So of course you're gonna marry the best option out of a small option. You ain't got that many options. So you're gonna marry the best option out of a small pool of options. In a big city, you got many options. So depending on where you at, yeah, it can happen. But truth be told, it's like not a lot of people marrying their neighbor. Not a lot of people marrying their high school sweetheart. They might have kids with them, like in Andrea's case, might have kids with them, but getting married, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother ball game.
All right. Thank you so much, Big Dog. Can I ask you? Can I ask you a question? And this is for both of you, and Big Dog. So, Big Dog, you said that it's rare to marry the person from the same town that you grew up in, right?
Not the same town, but like in Andrea's case, she said she come from a small rural area. It ain't that too many people in the area. It's like what, one, maybe two high schools in the whole area, maybe. So you have a small selection of men and you're going to choose the best man in that small selection. That's just period. Now, if you're in a bigger city, you have more fish to pick from. So you're going to pick, you got more options. So depending on the city you in, depending on the area you in, if it's a lot of people there, then you got a lot of options. If it's not that many people there, you're just going to pick the best option out of a small selection of people.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know what's the breakdown between the percentage-wise between the men, the ratio between the men and women in your city? You know, is it 50-50 or is it 60-40?
I was actually looking at these statistics today, and it's about 54% men. And of that percentage, about 40% are over 50. And about half of those men prefer the company of other men.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So basically, a single woman in her city is shit out of luck.
Basically, yeah. When I've tried to date, I try to go out of town.
Okay. So no, that's.
I mean, we're keeping it real. So.
Yeah. So if you definitely need to go if you're a woman not living in the same town as you definitely gotta go look out for other cities. But here's a question here's a question I want to just kind of push back on Big Dog, because I know there's a lot of people saying that it's hard to find someone within your city to date. So a lot of people would use the internet or dating apps, or go to different cities, or go to different states, or maybe international. But I want to ask you guys, there was a time where men and women just married your neighbor, or you married the person in your hometown, or maybe just the person in the next town over. That's still within your, I think the next town over, a couple of next town over, I think that's still close, for me, maybe a 10-mile radius from the town that you grew up in. I think that's close enough to be able to expand your dating options. I would consider that still local, But there was a time where people dated people locally, and they got married to people locally, right? There was a time, I think that was since the beginning of time, that always have happened before, but everything changed lately when the internet came along. So because I know you walk. I know if you look at the statistics, I think if it's probably similar to the breakdown of what Oz said, but I think as the United States as a whole, I think it's like 55% women, something like that, and then like 55%. That's 45% men, or something like that. It's pretty close. But what do you think? Why do you guys think that what changed from people used to date people locally, people used to marry people locally? But if you go to a lot of cities, even there's a lot of single people walking around for both men and women. But why do people find it hard to find somebody locally? Is it a lack of options? I don't think it's a lack of options, because Big Dog, there's a lot of single men out there. There's a lot of single guys out there. And I think there's a lot of guys out there that are looking for relationships. You see that online. There are a lot of women out there looking for relationships. We see it online as well. So I think there's a lot of people out there for each other, but for some reason, there's something that happened culturally and socially as a country, that we used to date and marry people locally, and then now we don't even look for the people in our own home city, and we're trying to find somebody outside, or maybe go to a different state. Well, I want to ask you guys your opinion. What changed? What shifted?
I think an increase of fear, of uncertainty with everything, economically, politically. The family breakdown has been going on for generations.
Okay.
And so when you have generational patterns of dysfunction and families breaking apart, it creates fear inside of you, whether you're conscious of it or not. It's subconscious and unconscious. So that fear can prevent you from being open and vulnerable with somebody. And I think that society pushes the replacement, not theory, but like we treat each other like we're disposable. I'm not saying like we or I, but like in general, I don't like generalizations, but in general, it seems like our society is really big on like, if it doesn't work out, just jump to the next person without even healing or taking time to have any introspection for like, what do you really want? Like the values don't match up, the expectations, whether or not we help each other with our purpose. I live in fantasy land sometimes, but I think that's one of the things that is why we don't, or some people want to get out of that small town, so they don't want to be stuck there because there's not a lot of things that they can do.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. What about you, Big Dog?
Technology.
Technology. Yep.
We live in that instant gratification. Everybody got to be happy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's selfish, alpha self. You know, if you can't give me what I need right away, I just, like Andrea said, I just go to the next one without even healing from whatever we went through. So it's a lot of that. Trust issues, past trauma, lack of communication skills. It's numerous reasons why it's such a disconnect between men and women these days. Is that it's crazy, and men and women both pointing the fingers at each other, saying it's your fault that society, that relationships are where they are, and it's like we're never gonna get it fixed until we decide to take on our own accountability. We gotta take our own accountability for what we do in our relationships, period. Before we can go to the next relationship, before we can do any healing and talking and trying to get with these different people all the time, we gotta know what we doing right and what we doing wrong, and why we're calling to jump from person to person to person to person. And until we can do all that, I don't see it getting no better. Like the day, like Gen X, even with Gen X, we have our own set of issues, but it ain't technology. It's more along the lines of financing right now. It's like we ain't got no money. So the millennials and the Gen Z, they got money, but they ain't got no trust issues. They got trust issues. Yeah. So it's a lot of different reasons why different generations are going through what they're going through. And until we can come to the table and realize what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, and I hold myself accountable for this, that, and the third, it ain't gonna get right.
Okay. All right. So no, I do agree with you guys. I do agree with all. You mentioned that there's a breakdown in family. I think there is a moral decline when it comes to morality in the U.S., especially when it comes to the importance and the value of building a strong, healthy family. I think that's been breaking down for the last 40, 50 years. I do agree with you, Big Dog. The dating dynamics have changed. I do agree with everything you said. But I want to ask you guys, this is, I think this is one of the reasons. I think that I want to ask what do you guys think about this, but I think one of the reasons, the reason why the dating and why a lot of people, well, the topic of what we're discussing is why women skip over the man they're supposed to marry. One of the main reasons why a lot of women tend to not want to marry the guy that's in their local hometown and try to go search for this ideal perfect person. I think you spoke to it all. You mentioned that there's a lot of unrealistic expectations or superficial expectations of what they look for in a partner that has no value when it comes to building a relationship. So I think we've seen all those viral trends, or the 6 feet finance, blue eyes. I don't know if you guys saw that one.
The 666 devil man.
Yeah, the 666. 6 foot, 6 pack, 6 figures, right? So I think these are a lot of modern trends that come from the internet. I think it's kind of confusing and misleading people because those are superficial. Those have no indication how committed somebody's going to be in a relationship. Somebody could be 6 feet in finance and have blue eyes, but may not have the character and the same values as you, especially if what you want for long term. So, but I think this is something that was brought up. Do you think that because of the unrealistic expectations, because of the hookup culture that we live in, people don't really value investing in something long term? People just want to find, you mentioned already, Big Dog, we live in an instant gratification culture. People no longer want to work for something, want to invest into something. We just want to find the most amount of results, the fastest way, the quickest way. And I think that's happening all over society, but I think we also do it within our own relationships. Relationships take time, especially if you're looking for something quality. You have to vet people out. You have to get to know somebody. You have to make sure that you do due diligence to make sure that if I'm going to open myself up, not only emotionally, mentally, but also physically to somebody, I really need to make sure that this is somebody that's going to be ready for the long term, just in case, the consequences, and especially if we decide to go intimate physically. So I don't think this is something that most people think about when it comes to relationships. But I do see that, I think a lot of women, this is something I do see online. Do you think that most women today are willing to date the average guy that they see at their local hometown? Because, I think that's a conversation that's always been had, because as much as people want to complain about the lack of men or lack of options, I promise you, just for all the women out there, just take a walk. go to your local Walmart. There's a lot of single men. There's a lot of single men. Go to your local grocery store, whatever. Go to Home Depot. There's a lot of guys out there just walking around, everyday Joes, single. They're looking for a relationship, and I'm pretty sure some of those guys have decent values and will treat you like a queen. But oftentimes these guys are invisible because they don't fit the criteria of the 6 foot, blue eyes, in finance type of guy. So, but the average guy is not 6 foot. The average guy doesn't have blue eyes, and the average guy is not in finance, doesn't have the 666. He's just a everyday working everyday working guy, and just making sure that he takes care of himself and the people he cares about. So, I'll start with you. Do you think that women do you think that women today are still willing to date the local average Joe?
Absolutely. Most of the firemen that we have, the public utility guys that we have, most of them have rings on their fingers. And they're average looking, but they're handsome. And that's also subjective. And everyone has different preferences, and that attraction can grow too. And I see so many couples that are average looking women that are heavier. And love isn't just what's visual that this culture seems to push. So yes, I think that we are definitely willing to, although we're being told that we aren't, but we really are, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right. So
that narrative is being pushed.
Okay, but do you believe that on average, do you think most women today are willing to date the average guy, or no?
A certain type of woman, no.
Okay.
No. It
What
really depends.
type of woman is that, Andrea? I would
Can you
like.
break that down? But with a certain type of woman that won't date the average Joe. Can you break that down?
The woman that is superficial, that doesn't want love. She wants to be taken care of. She wants him to pedal for her every single whim. She wants the flashy cars. She wants everything fancy. She doesn't want to, go without her nails being done. Just the superficial type of woman that is vapid and lacks substance to her. Because people are multifaceted, and there's too many different categories of people. So that type of woman would be the type that I would say no to.
Okay, so the superficial type of woman. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that woman tend to post with their clothes on IG, or do they or they're usually half naked on Instagram?
They would be the type that would be half naked, probably have an OF link in their bios. That type of woman.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I'll pass it to you, Big Dog. Yeah, do you think that's why a lot of women skip over the man they're supposed to marry? Do you think that it's just because they don't want to? Most women today, they don't want to date the average Joe.
I think most women and most men are superficial. But if we're just sticking on the women, even the average woman is superficial. Not just the ones that's on Instagram and OF and all that. Even the average women, they're superficial. They feel like they deserve the 6'6" guy themselves. And the average woman is 5'4", 160 pounds. That's average. And they feel like they deserve the 6'6" with the 6-pack and making $200,000, $300,000 a year. And truth be told, that combination of man is, again, small. It's rare. There's not too many of them walking around for every woman to pick. And those that are around, if they're single, they have options. It's like if you 5'4", shaped like a fire hydrant, and he sees something that's 5'9", 5'10", that's shaped like a Victoria's Secret model, he gonna go with the best option. So, you an average woman being superficial, stuck on that I'm gonna get this type of dude, and you can't get him, and then you're gonna have to settle. And when you settle for the average man, you're gonna complain because he's not the Superman. And then even when you with the average man, they going to find another average man that's better than the average man they dealing with. I mean, they're serious. Like they'll get, just like Andrea said, they'll get a fireman that's a good dude, make decent money and all that, and then they'll turn around and be cheating with the local dope boy. They ain't the same. They two peas in the same pod.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they jump from man to man to man, trying to get to close to Superman as possible. So it ain't just the ones we see on IG and it's the ones that superficial, like Andrea said. Them the ones they come in all shapes and sizes, in different races, different backgrounds, and they want what they want. And until they get what they want, they're gonna keep on jumping until they get as close to perfection as possible.
Okay. Do you think that most women are superficial, or do you think that it's just the women that we see online are superficial? Because the reason why I say that, because what I see in online, that sometimes it doesn't reflect what I see in real life. Now, I'm not the type of guy I know a lot of times a lot of men would complain online, all women are the same. But then sometimes when you look at their selection process, the way they find these types of women, they meet in real life. But then you look at, sometimes you're like, okay, you say that all the women are the same online, but then the types of women that you meet for your own personal life, you meet them at the bars, at the club, places that typically not a lot of women with strong standards and values would typically go to. So, but for me, is based on what I see online, I think there is a type of woman that we see online, especially the type of women that have big platforms and their content is pushed to a majority of people, and they go viral. It's often the superficial woman that I just explained, right? I don't really see a lot of good conservative or good women who love their husbands, who love their family. I don't often see them go viral, but I do see in my own personal life, I don't really see a lot of the everyday working women that I see in my everyday life. I don't think a lot of them are not like the internet, the women in the internet. Do you think what we see online is a representation of the average woman we see in our own personal lives, or do you think that's just a small pool of women that we see online because they have influence, because their content goes viral? We often mistake and use that as an umbrella to represent all the women in America?
I would say it's a small minority that got the megaphone. They
Yeah.
got the big platform. Because like you said, in my everyday reality, I don't see that. I don't hear that when I talk to other men. I don't hear them. We don't have them conversations. When I'm out with my wife, going to different places, we see average men and average women together having good times. Now, what I do know is that, like I was saying earlier, is that people are flawed. So even the average man and the average woman, they still do dirty things. You know what I'm saying? They still cheat. They still do all that. So it ain't just the superficial people that got the small minority of superficial people. It's everybody. Everybody wants the same things in life. Every man, every woman wants the same things in life. And depending on what you prioritize first is what you're looking for first. So Andrea might prioritize somebody that can take care of the house, pay the bills and all that right there. That's what she's gonna look for first to make sure somebody can pay them bills. While another one might say, well, I need a man that's good with his hands that can fix things. So she's looking for the handyman. And then whatever the priority is, they just go down the line and trying to get everything together. But the truth of the matter is both women want the same things. It's just what Andrea prioritized versus what the other woman prioritized. So it's really, like you said, it's not an everyday conversation. It's just that small minority of women that's kind of talking about I need the 6 foot, the 6 figures, and this, that right there. It's like you don't hear that every day. You hear that on YouTube. You hear that on social media. You don't hear that in your real life.
Okay. What about you, all? What's your reaction to that?
I don't see what the narratives online in real life.
Yeah.
At all. Like I'll talk to my coworkers about some of the things that I see and they're like, that's just online. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Because so much of it is just limiting mindsets and beliefs that hinder any type of real connection and growth. But I do agree with Big Dog that our priorities need to match and mutually, and see how we can serve each other and pour into each other, because it seems like a lot of it is just draining each other's cups.
Yeah, that's because that's something I do notice. I don't think the women that we see online who have the most influence or their content tends to go viral. I don't think that's the everyday woman. The everyday woman is working probably 1 or 2 jobs, trying to take care of herself and her family, right? The everyday woman is probably driving a forklift in a warehouse somewhere. That's the normal working woman, right? Though the terms that we see online that goes viral, I just never seen it. I just never seen it for myself. Sometimes when I have conversations about it, unless you're into social media, unless you're really into it and you keep up to date with the trends. But most people who are just working everyday jobs, especially for the everyday working class women, we talk about the working class men. There is the working class women, because we do live in a society today that women are going to have to work for them, be able to work and financially support themselves. A lot of women do. I don't think they have the time to think about trying to find a 6 foot guy working finance, blue eyes, while they're trying to lift some heavy equipment or some boxes somewhere. So that's it's not a conversation. So I wanted to respond to the thing I saw in the clip from Anton. He said that the man that you're supposed to marry, the women that skip over, he said that's the man that you grew up with. He's the man that that treated you nicely when you were younger, when you grew up with. He's the guy that had your best interest. He's the guy that was always there. I want to ask you guys that question is this is my belief, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Big Dog, and especially for all. What if it's the guy that you grew up with? But I do believe for every woman there is a guy out there that's willing to give you the relationship that you want, that's actually generally good for you. And he's probably a good guy, but he's probably in the friend zone. You don't see him. He's not attractive. You don't find him attractive, but he's probably the nicest, most sweetest guy out there. But I believe every woman has that one guy, and he's probably in the friend zone. and the women will overlook this guy and constantly go find the guys who are more conventionally attractive or more aesthetically attractive, even though they don't treat them like crap. But I generally believe that every woman, whether it's when you grew up with, either you grew up with them as a child or you meet him later on in your adult life, I think there's a good guy out there. So Anton was saying every woman has that guy. It's the guy that was there for you. It's the guy that treated you nicely. He's always respectful. He's always being nice to you, you know. But women would skip over this guy because you guys want to find the most superficial, conventionally attractive guy, or Chad. You know, that's the term they use now online. You want to find the Chad when there's a Bob that you grew up with, and Bob was always there for you. You know, when you cried, you know, when you're through your breakups, when you go through hard times, he's the one that, you know, when you're needed some financial help, he was there for you. And women skip over this guy, and I think that's the guy that if women had some more common sense, or if they had an understanding of what family is and what family is about, I think they would choose that guy choose Bob over Chad. But do you guys? I'll start with you, On. I come to you, Big Dog Barking. Do you agree? Do you agree that every woman has that one guy, but that's generally a good guy, but they put him in the friend zone because he's not the attractive guy that she wants, or the ideal guy that she wants? Do you agree with that, or do you disagree with that? Oh,
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree.
Okay. You don't think everyone? I'm not going to say every woman. I don't mean all women, but I would say a majority. I'm saying there's a majority of women. There's at least a good guy out there for you, but you don't find him attractive. You disagree that, and why do you disagree?
Because male friendships are also important, and I grew up around brothers, so
Okay.
Their friends were all around, and then when I was with my kid's dad, they had a lot of friends around, and then my childhood male best friend, how do I say this without sounding horrible? I don't like the way he smells.
Okay.
Like, if that's important.
Well, does he have a weird smell to you, or he's conventionally has bad hygiene?
He has a weird smell to me.
Okay. Have you heard other people say the same thing, or is that just okay?
No. And he's had many girlfriends, and they've all met me, but we have to set boundaries, you know, out of respect for them, because some of them have been jealous of the friendship because they don't understand it.
Okay.
But yeah, my childhood guy best friend, we were not compatible in that way. He's a good-looking guy. He's great, but
he just stank.
He just doesn't smell good to me.
It's bad hygiene. Okay.
It's not even that. It's just like the pheromones, you know? Like, I'm not attracted to him.
Maybe it's the cologne he wears don't mix with his body, or the soap he use.
I don't know. It just, now I feel bad. But you want real, you want honest. Like, I've hugged him after a shower, you know, like.
Oh, okay.
It's just,
he ain't making it no better.
Well, yeah. Well, okay.
God, I hope he never watches this.
He probably will. You just manifested it into the universe. But that's what I mean. I think, you know, whatever the reason you don't find attractive, whatever it's the smell, whatever it's the physical, I think there's always a guy out there for every woman, but there's something that about him that you just don't find attractive. That's the guy I'm talking about.
And his mindset too.
Okay, his mindset. Okay.
His mindset is in the mindset that I would want leading me.
Okay, so he's more submissive instead of being an assertive leader?
No, he's pessimistic.
Oh, pessimistic. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, okay. Yeah. He's very negative?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so All right. So, but besides those reasons, he's generally a good guy, treats you well, respects you, and is a good friend to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love him very much.
Oh, okay. As a friend. Okay.
Yeah.
As a friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, if you don't mind me asking, has any, I don't know if it's from your end or from his end, has any of you guys initiated the conversation? Hey, maybe we should try to date each other.
We've never had that conversation ever.
Oh, okay.
No. We've kept it pretty platonic the whole time. Like, we've joked like we should date, and then we both laugh like, no, it's not worth it.
Oh, man, that's the memes I see on the internet.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, like he's laughed at me because I'm like, let's do this, and he's like, no, we wouldn't work. So.
I think it's more of him when he be laughing it off. He really want to try. I think that he really want to try.
Yeah.
But it's you.
Well, he has a girlfriend and a child with her, and no.
No, I mean, I'm not saying now. I'm just saying when earlier, when you guys were probably both single, but I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm just my understanding of those situations. I think most guys in that situation would have feelings for or would want to date you. But the thing is, for a lot of guys, is if it's not, we can kind of see that if you're not open for it, then I think he probably saw that, okay, he's waiting for you to kind of let him know, like, hey, this could happen, or you're attracted to him, but you probably didn't see it. He just stuck in that friend zone.
And we could also say I'm naive in that way too, because if he did put on any type of advances, because I'm viewing him from that filter of friend zone, I might be completely blasé to it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, because I don't like blaming people.
Yeah.
Because when you blame others, that gives them more power. And so, to put it back on me, I will never see him that way.
Yeah.
Because I don't like his mindset and the way he thinks. And he's very pessimistic, and he leans on the depression side of life. And then he smells different that I don't like.
All right. So, but there was no childhood friends that were just normal, had normal smell, normal mindset. Right?
No.
Yeah.
Did
you have any childhood friends that were just normal, like normal dudes?
My elementary school, in that age where you started to develop feelings for the opposite sex, we had eighth graders in my 8th grade class. My high school had 18 in our graduating class. And I thought I scored with my kid's dad during that time. So I went from having a long-term relationship into this mess about 12 years ago. So
okay.
I'm kind of an anomaly in some ways.
Gotcha. All right. I see you, Gas Mask, Hassan, Tahir, and Lovely Word. Thank you for being on the live chat. Keep it popping on the live chat. Let me know what you guys think. But I'll pass it to you, Big Dog. What do you think, Big Dog? Anton was saying that for every woman out there that's saying that there's no good men out there, they're all the same. They're starting to give up on dating. He's saying that there's always a guy out. There was a guy out there when you grew up, that was always there for you. That's the guy that they were supposed to marry, but they skipped over that guy and try to go look for their Chad. Do you agree with that assessment or not?
I can agree with it, but what I would tell the guy is just like in Andrea case, why you don't say nothing to that girl? If you really feel this type of way about her, you like her and this, that, and the third, why don't you just go and tell her how you feel and see where it go instead of just you putting yourself in the friend zone? You know what I'm saying? So, and it's funny that me and my wife, we were watching Big Bang Theory yesterday.
Yeah.
And every time I watch Big Bang Theory, I be thinking about some of the people out here on these panels. Is like a lot of these guys want to be like Big Bang Theory. They want to be that nerd that gets the hot girl across the hallway to marry them. And it's like you don't know if she like you or not if you don't say nothing.
That's true.
If you just waiting on her to approach you because you a good dude, you feel like you can take care of her and all that right there. If you don't say nothing, how she supposed to know? How you supposed to know? You don't say nothing.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of guys put themselves in the friend zone because they won't say nothing. At least see what it. I think, and then I think why they don't say nothing because they scared of rejection, scared they fear that. It's like the worst thing they want to hear is a woman that they attracted to say no. And it's like, well, at least you tried. At least you know where y'all stand. It's just that after you tell her that and she tell you no, you gone on do what you do. And then if whatever she do fail, she can't come back over here.
Yeah.
I'm gone doing some other things. So I think what it is that they scared to say something because of the fear of rejection. But if you got a background in sales, which a lot of these guys say they do, you done heard no several times before you heard a yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it.
Just to respond to what Big Dog was saying, to be fair, I'll give the guys, the young guys under 18 some grace, because when you're just growing up as a young dude, especially, we all went to high school, most guys, including myself, when I think about it, just think about when I was in high school, it takes a lot to go practice walking up and approaching a woman, especially in high school. You don't have a lot of experience, especially when it's going to be the first person you really, really like. I think when they're young, it's a little. I'll give the young guys more and more grace if they find themselves in the friend zone, if they find themselves in situations where the girl's not reciprocating his efforts, and clearly they want the other guy, but you're just trying to play being a good friend, just waiting for her to make the move instead of just being a man and make the move, approach her. If she says yes, great. If she says no, just keep it moving and go find somebody else. But to Big Dog's point, if you're a grown ass man, if you're 18, if you're an adult, and a lot of guys, man, damn near guys in their 20s, then 30s, and 40s, and you're still waiting for the girl to make the move, and you're still in that friend zone, and you're putting all the effort, but she's not reciprocating, or maybe the worst case, she's not respecting you as a man. You got to put that at the man, like. You're a grown man. You have a job. You lived a majority of adulthood. If you can't figure out the confidence and to go and say, hey, I want to be with you. Is this something that's mutually shared between me and you? Does the interest within you for this? Say no and move on. But yeah, I do agree with you. I think a lot of guys find themselves in the friend zone. But speaking of the Big Bang Theory, Big Dog, can a guy just say that? Say he's being with a girl, and is a good guy to that girl, but generally, a lot of women today get influenced by the superficial mentality and qualities. So, do you think it's a lot of times guys are trying, especially the guy that just your average Joe, because you mentioned it before, a lot of average women said that they have the superficial qualities as well. Do you think that's one of the challenges as well? Because the guy's like, what? I really like this girl. I think we're in the same dating pool, in the same dating class. I can make it work. I'm normal. She's normal. We grew up in the same child. We grew up in the same hometown. We work at the same place. I think this is something that makes sense, but they have to not only battle with her, but they got to battle with the the type of influence a lot of social media has on a lot of these girls, even the normal girls in the small towns. They still want to go out to the big city and find their man. Is that something that maybe they're not in the friend zone? They're generally just good guys, but they're gonna have to deal with the issue that a lot of even the small town girls, they still want to go to the big cities. Is that another one or no?
I think a lot of women just they want to test out their options, because like you can have a good dude right there in your face every day, and women know he a good dude. A woman know that this man is right there in their face, know he got husband qualities. It's just that she'll probably look at him like, I'm gonna try some other things first, and then if that don't work, I'm gonna come back to him because I know he'll marry me. I know he'll take care of me no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So you do have women that look at certain guys like that. Then you have certain women that look at that guy and say, you know what, no matter what, I don't want him. Like Andrea said, no matter what, I don't want him. Yeah. No matter how good he is, I don't want him. And he could be the best man in the world. I don't want him. And I think a lot of men get mad about that because women have choice. Women have options. It ain't like you gonna tell them, well, you won't marry me or else. It's like, no, she don't have to marry you if she don't want to marry you. So I think that's really what it is, that they want to try out their options. They gonna do it. And you can't stop a woman from trying. That's why I have such a problem with some of the content creators when they kind of trying to tell women to just get with that dude that's right there. And it's like, okay, if you get with him and y'all get married, whatever, who to say he won't change in 5 years? Who to say that he's a good guy right here at 25, but at 30, he's a piece of shit? He took you down from you way up here, and all of a sudden, since y'all been married, you done went down. You done went down. And now it's like you stuck with him and you don't know what to do because everybody telling you that work it out. But inside that house, it's torture, it's pain, it's terrible, and you want to go. Yeah. Like, at least let her explore our options. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I be really. It really irks me a lot when I hear a guy tell them, "Go on, marry him." But I'm like, how you know that's him? Just because he got some qualities that might make him, he might not be her husband. He might belong to somebody else that can deal with whatever future behavior he got going on with himself.
Okay, but I think I understand what what you're saying, but I think it depends on how people define what husband is, right?
Right.
So a lot of times the definitions of things, I think sometimes also brought it up. I think a lot of the things that traditionally was based on strong morals and values is now superficial. So I think traditionally back in the day, if you would ask 50 years ago to men and women or to women, what is a husband, right? I think you would see a lot of old-fashioned description of old-fashioned qualities and traditional values. He's God-fearing. He's a family man who loves to provide, protect for his children, loyal to his wife, committed to his wife, integrity, moral character. Those things. I think those are the things that usually would describe what a husband is. But Big Dog, you said, because I've heard this from a lot of women. What happens if we choose? I don't want to get married because I need to skip over this guy, because what happens if it's 5 years from now he might have a change of heart or go find somebody else? Don't you think that's a reflection of the lack of vetting that we see today? Of course, nothing's guaranteed. There's no such thing as a guarantee man or woman out there, or candidate, or a quality person. And there's always risk. There's always the risk of things not working out. But I think that's why there should be a focus on vetting and making sure, okay, take your time. Spend some time with this person, get to know him, have the hard conversations, do your due diligence, look at his family, look at his friends, his social circle, look at where he comes from, look at what he does. So these are the things that you should look for, and that's, hopefully before you get physically intimate, have some restraint when it comes to sex. Sex is a beautiful thing. If it leads to it, it is, but you can restrain yourself, because if you're looking for long-term investment, because I think for a lot of, I think when it comes to our values, because I heard that conversation, what do we change? I think we all change from both men and women. I think our preferences, our mindset, things that our perspectives can change. But I think one of the things that doesn't really change, especially if it's a core foundation of who you are, I think it's your values, right? The principles and your values, or your morality. I think that doesn't change if you have one. Now, if you don't have one, then you're fucked. Okay, but but I think generally, values, that people have, especially if they do have them and they're true to them. Especially we have certain. I think as when we were younger, I think we have some kind of idea of what our values are, and I think if you date somebody and you find your core values that aligns with you, I think you're always going to be the same person as far as value system. But I think that it's natural for your preferences to change. But I think when I hear a lot of men and women say, they changed 5 years from now or 10 years from now, I think what that says to me is, oh, you chose somebody that you never vetted to make sure that you guys had the similar core foundation of values. I don't think you knew that before getting in, because people don't really. It takes a lot for people to change their moral values, morally. And I'm sure this is some things that you stand on, big dog, when it comes to your morals, and it's gonna take it's probably gonna take a miracle for me to try to convince you to go back on something that especially when it comes on what you think is right or wrong, what do you think is good or bad. But I don't think those people have that conversation, because I think a lot of people just date, have sex, have a child, and then
Gotta make it work.
and then spend their marriage trying to make it work. With those, the marriage is not the part where you make it work. You're supposed to do that before. Then the marriage is just when you build, because you found the person. You found the person that you guys align morally when it comes to your values and what you guys look for long term. I'll pass it back to you guys. What do you think? What do you guys response to that?
Well,
You have a hand up? Go ahead.
Yeah. Can I add something when it comes to vetting? Back in the days, there used to be more people involved, because there's safety in wise counsel.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of the reasons for our dysfunction is because we are not seeking the advice and counsel and wisdom of our elders. There's a lot of disrespect towards our elders, and some of the elders are sharing their negative experiences with us without actually giving us the tools to overcome them and conquer them. That's what I was going to say.
No, that's true. That's true.
We need to be able to have people that have happy, healthy, loving, mutually respectful relationships and marriages, providing that insight and that guidance and loving correction.
No, I actually had a podcast, I think 2 weeks ago, and I asked the girls on the panel, what's their thoughts about having their father be part of their dating process and just give you insight, some perspective. And they looked at me like I was some kind of nut job. I was crazy.
I wish. When I was, I'm an anomaly. So not all the way, but a lot of different ways. I was propelled and kind of forced to be on my own at 14. So I moved in with my kid's dad at 14, and I clutched on that and held on to that relationship because he provided that consistency, stability, and safety, and he had his stuff together. So when those things did change over time, and it was gradual, it wasn't just like a boom, he's totally different. I lost my attraction to him and our relationship fizzled out. But those are the core values that I look for in a man, because I kind of had to be my own daddy, if that makes makes any sense.
Okay.
And I'm a believer. And so every relationship every guy that I'm interested, dating, or in a relationship with, I pray for him, and I pray God bless us or end us. And so when it's ended, I pray for them. I wish them to be blessed. If there's any forgiveness, then I forgive. But I feel like that pressure that I have to be with somebody, because I believe that whoever God has for me is gonna not slip out of my grasp.
Yeah.
Because when I pray that we're blessed, we'll be blessed.
Yeah.
Because it's a powerful prayer and it's worked a lot. So it's just my inner core belief.
All right, no worries. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Paul.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll pass it to you, Big Dog. Yeah, I mean, what's her take on it? You know, because I know you mentioned there's women out there saying, you know what, I should skip over this potentially good guy I met early in my life because, you know, what if he changes 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Do you think that's true, or maybe that's just a lack of vetting?
I'm a say vetting, because just like Andrea was saying about, just like both of y'all was saying about the whole father situation. I actually had a conversation with my daughter yesterday about her relationship with her boyfriend, and they've been talking about getting married, but she kind of iffy because of how he been, you know, certain things she don't like about him that's holding off from getting married or whatever the case may be. And I had to tell her, it's like, look, he's not perfect, but you're not perfect either. So you have to tell him what you need to tell him and go and get it off your chest. But at the same time, you have to be prepared for what he say about you too. You can't be mad about what he say, because you're going to say what you want to say, and you're going to say it how you want to say it, and you don't care about how he feel. But just be prepared for what he say back to you. And you can't be crying about what he said and all that right there. So vetting is part of it too. You know, like we don't, like right now they don't talk. The lack of communication skills is at an all-time high. So nobody want to talk. Everybody want to do though. These like everybody supposed to be mind readers. But if everybody mind reading, then why everybody broke? You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be able to read mind, you supposed to be able to know how people move and all that right there. And we don't talk. Everybody supposed to be mind readers. So with that and somebody in your life to guide you, to help you through the process, you just like Andrea said, we have the younger generations that look at the older generations like they don't know nothing. Like they don't know what's going on right now. But then you got some of the older generation that telling the younger generation is, I ain't gonna get into your bullshit. I'm not gonna help you with your problems. The only time that they'll come together is when they get hurt. When the younger people get hurt, then they want to go talk to somebody. Then it's like, okay, now you hurt. Now I want to go and baby you and tell you everything gonna be all right. But you didn't try to baby them. You didn't try to help them before the hurt came. You just let them go and bump their head, even though you knew what was going on and you could have gave them some advice. But that's a two-way street, because, like I said, the younger generation don't want to say nothing to the older generation, and the older generation don't want to say nothing to the younger generation, and then they come together when it's a mutual hurt, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's ways to avoid a lot of these issues and a lot of these situations that we just communicate, but don't nobody want to talk. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I had a question for you, Big Dog, because if you don't mind me asking, but have you had a one-on-one, man-to-man conversation with your daughter's boyfriend?
Yes, I had. Like a couple of years ago, they in South Carolina. So when she had came down here for a birthday a couple of years ago and brought him with her, and we went out to dinner, me, him, my wife, and my daughter. And we had a conversation. I asked him, like, what's the plan? I like, what's the plan that you got for my daughter?
Yeah.
And he was like, I want to marry her. I said, okay, that's cool. Well, you know, she ain't told, like, just recently she been telling me certain negatives about him, but it's been more positive than negatives. So I tell her, like, look, he ain't perfect. He gonna be flawed. I'm flawed. I'm your dad and you love me, but I'm flawed. You know what I'm saying? If I can tell you everything me and your mama went through, you look at me kind of sideways. Oh. But I'm flawed. But your mama loved me. And you love me with my flaws. So if he flawed, but he care about you, and he willing to do this, that, and the third for you, and he respect your boundaries and all that right there, I said, he ain't that bad of a catch. And it ain't too many guys at his age. I think she finna be 23 in November. I think he's already 25. So that's about the same time me and her mama got married. I was 25, she was 24. So I'm like, you about at the same range as me and your mama was when we got together. So I said he ain't that bad. Now, if you feel like it's something, like I said, if something that's not clicking, then by all means tell him what the problem is, and if y'all can't work it out, then go on about your business. I'm not gonna tell you to sit there and just deal with him if things not working. But if he's not that bad of a man and he does a lot of things for you, then give it a chance. You know what I'm saying? It may work out, it may not work out, but it is what it is.
Oh, I would have. Thanks for sharing that, Big Dog. I would have responded totally differently. If you said I want to get married, I would have told him, "Oh yeah, that's not a plan. That's a goal. Your goal is to get married, but you didn't. What's your plan? Break it down to me. How do you go from today to marriage? Guide me through that process and the things that you need to do to make that a reality." That's what I would have done.
Well, you know, different stroke for different folks. I'm just like more the type of like, what's the plan? And once you tell me the plan, I'm like, okay, make it happen. You know, so that's how I always raise my kids. Is like, what's your plan? They'll tell me what they got going. I say, I won't go make it happen. You know what I'm saying? When you need some help, come let me know. I'll help you. But just go and make it happen. I want to see you make it happen. So with both my son and my daughter, I tell them like, just go make it happen. So with her, when she got an issue with him or anything in her life, she'll call me daddy. Okay, what's going on? She'll tell me what's going on. I say, okay, well, I'm gonna give her option A, option B, option C. Which one you feel like is the best option?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. And I'm like, okay, now we done came to the conclusion that we're gonna choose option C because that's the best option for you according to what all you got going on. She's like, yeah, that sound the best. So that's how I deal with my kids. You know, just tell me what the plan is, and we'll go from there. Whatever the hiccups come along the way, we'll stop. We'll talk about it so we can keep on going forward.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. You want to say something, Al?
I just have so much respect and admiration for you as a father. And yeah, like it's so awesome. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate it. I mean, I'm just I think just I always was good with my older cousin. She had her children early, so I always helped her babysit, help her with her kids. So it was just natural to me to deal with kids. So when I started having my own kids, it was like I know how to deal with kids, like feed them, change them, put them to sleep and all that right there. So as they start getting old, I was just like, look, I'm your dad. I ain't perfect, but I'm your dad. Whatever. But
then also the way that you provided multiple options and like pathways and helped them to be guided with their choice and the consequences of each choice as they made their plan. That is so awesome and beautiful. Yeah. I'm just like in awe of it.
I mean, it's like you're gonna have to pick a route. You're gonna have to go a certain direction. You ain't gonna just like that fork in the road, you're gonna have to go one way or the other way. You can't just sit there and be looking like which way do I go. You're gonna have to make a decision, and then like which decision gonna come on now. You're holding up traffic, what you gonna do? So they're like, what? That's how I deal with my kids. That's how I deal with a lot of people. Like, what you gonna do? It's like we can't sit here and come and go over it over and over again for 3-4 hours. It's like we got me and you got other things to do. You know what I'm saying? So tell me what these options look like. Tell me what this option look like. Tell me what this option look like. And we're going to break down each option. And then when we break them down, we're gonna okay, which one sound best to you? because I know which one sound best to me. And once she tell me or my son tell me which option sound best to them, I was like, okay, if that's what you want to do, this is what I'm going to do with that option you pick. And so they're like, okay, that's how much involvement you're going to have. I'm like, yeah, that's how much involvement I'm going to have. Now, if this is the option you choose and you mess up, you can always come back and talk to daddy. And daddy's going to like, okay, what happened? Okay, let's fix it so you can keep on going forward. Because the other two options, we done close them doors. We done close them doors. You got to go this way. So we're going to have to fix it, or you just turn back around and, do something else. But when it comes down to relationships, like with both my kids, when it comes down to relationships, I tell them straight up, it's like, look, either you're going to do it or you ain't going to do it. Ain't no sitting there crying and complaining. So like with my daughter, she started dating in 8th or 9th grade. And now you tell her all the time, that like, if a boy didn't respect what you had going on, cut him off instantly. Cut him off. Because she was in a lot of clubs, a lot of sports, and had her grades a 4-point-something grade point average. And I'm like, look, you got a plan. If a boy don't respect your plan, cut him off. And she was cutting him off because like, I'm trying to do homework. You want to be on the phone all night. I'm trying to do my homework. I cut him off. So I was like, yeah. So my son, I do him the same way. It's like, look, either you gonna talk to this girl or you ain't gonna talk to the girl. At least give it a chance, a try. If it don't work out, guess what? You can talk to another girl. But at least get this girl a chance. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I just operate with my kids. I give them options, and they, I let them do what they do. I let them bump their head, and when they feel like they tired of bumping their head, they come back and talk to me. And I'm like, well, go this way, do this. We'll find something that's gonna work.
I love it.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, big dog. Has your daughter ever brought a guy to meet you, and then you just saw something and immediately you saw a red flag, like hell no?
Yeah, it been a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she was in high school, it was a couple of them that she brought around me.
What stood out that you just knew from your experience as a man? Like no.
Well,
it's not gonna happen.
I know one. I told her that he was part of the rainbow community.
Okay.
And she was like, "No, he ain't. No, he ain't." I say, "I'm looking at him. I can tell of his mannerisms and his movement." I'm like, "But he say he like girls." I'm like, "He say he like girls, but he look like he like boys." I'm just, I ain't trying to be all,
yeah.
But I was just saying what I was saying. I'm like, he like boys. Not being, disrespectful. Like I got sisters in that community. You know what I'm saying? So not being disrespectful. It's just like he don't like girls. He like boys. And over time, he came out that he liked boys. And then there was another boy she was dealing with, like before she went off to college. He always wanted to wrestle and put his hands on her. And my daughter would want to, wrestle back. And I would sit back. I don't like that. I don't like all that extra wrestling and all that. I like it because that wrestling turned into some punches. And I ain't trying to go to jail for some, you punching on my daughter.
Yeah.
So it been a couple of guys I just had to call out certain things about them, and I had to tell her, like, I don't like him. I don't think you need to mess with him no more. I don't like him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's just like the guys in Oz hometown, right? 50% of over 50 are into other dudes.
They prefer the company of other men.
Yeah, he preferred the company of other boys. So.
Yeah.
Can you tell? Because I think guys we can tell. We have a
good.
Oh yeah. But can you tell?
Oh yeah.
How can you tell?
There's demeanor, there's mannerisms. You can always tell with the eyes. And they tend to be very good looking too. And just more like metrosexual.
Yeah.
They're more like how I knew one of my best friends from childhood was that way. That's where another childhood guy friend that would fit this criteria of what Antoine says. He was my first kiss in 6th grade, the last day, because it was a dare, because I was the only girl that wasn't. And he came out, and we all knew, because he had the best hair tips, makeup tips,
Oh,
style.
That's a giveaway. That's a giveaway right there.
Yeah.
That's the dead giveaways right there.
And then, living in the town that I do, the big bears, they are very obvious too. We call them bears because there's like a big bear weekend type of deal.
Yeah.
And they wear chaps.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm trying to keep it PC.
No. It's I live in San Francisco, so I see them every day.
Yeah, so it's like that, except for like more rampant. Like, don't go to town during this weekend if you have children.
Lord have mercy.
Will,
you ain't making no better talking about San Francisco.
Oh yeah. Definitely go to Castro. If you ever come down here to visit, somebody says Castro, do not go there.
Trust me, I won't.
It's like
I'll probably be in my hotel majority of the time.
Yes, especially if you have kids. You don't want to get them traumatized.
Nah. I mean, in all honesty, my son, he be talking about, well, I don't know if you see a lot of homosexual boys, but I know you see a lot of lesbian girls at his school.
Hey, I don't want to put you on the spot, big dog. But did you do you know who Fresh and Fit is?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So big dog. I don't want to put you on the spot.
I'm really waiting on this.
It came on my mind, but did you see those pictures that Myron had with they were cuddling with the guys? Like both of you guys, like, what do you feel about that?
When he was in college, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it was there was a picture of him in the same bed. They were cuddling. And there's another picture of him. I think he was kissing his friend on the cheek or the neck.
Yeah.
But Myron said that that's just boys being boys.
No.
What do you like? Generally, what do you think? What do you think about that? Is that boys being boys, or what do you think? I want you to put it on the spot. You don't have to respond if you don't want to respond. But.
No, I don't think it's boys being boys, because you can tell on his face how comfortable he was with that. Like, he kind of melted with that guy. Like, you could tell he liked him. And then the way he is with women. And then there's like this video of him dancing, and it's like, boy, like, I'm ready for the like disco, like, I don't want to talk too much smack, but no, I'm waiting for him to come out of the closet.
What is your male gut say?
Will, the only male that I have affection for is my son. That's it. That's the only young man that I be around that I actually be happy to be around. That I love to see my son. Outside of any other young man outside of my son, I'm not that happy to see them unless we got business to take care of. Like when I was coaching basketball, I'd be happy to see my players come in because they come into practice, they come in to play the game. I'm happy to see them instead of being out in the streets or something like that. I'm glad they showed up. It worked. I'm glad you came to work. I'm happy to see you. Now let's go get to work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But in just a personal situation, a personal environment, is like, what's up? How you doing? What's going on? You know, ain't no kissing on the jaws and all that extra hugging and like, nah, I no. That's too much.
All right.
I don't know what boys he been hanging around to be that comfortable.
Yeah. Just because he said Myron said that he was in sports. He was in the rowing team. So this is something that's normal in sports. I did play football. So to be fair, I did see some of that behavior in the locker room. But looking back at it now, the guys that did that type of behavior now, as I'm older, they all came out. So. But for me personally, we never did that type. We never got that close.
And I know you went to college. I didn't go to college, but I played football and baseball and basketball in high school. And if you try to pat me on the butt for a good job, I'm looking at you crazy like, no, don't touch my butt. You can pat me on the back, but don't pat me on the butt talking about a good job. We're gonna fight.
Yeah.
So but then he was rowing. Will you seen how short them shorts is on the rowing team?
Oh man,
I'm not trying to be in no canoe with 3 other guys rowing. No, your shorts too short. I always like you got on boxer drawers. I don't want to do all that. Oh.
Yeah. No, if Myron was in the younger generation, I think that type of behavior today is normal. I think that's more normal, based on what's normalized today. But Byron, he's a '90s baby, so he comes from our generation. So for what I saw growing up, I never saw guys, especially the straight guys. We never did that type of stuff. It's always the borderline type of dudes that would like do that stuff.
Yeah, I'm like you. It's like it always been the ones that
was borderline.
They might go.
They're in the fence. They're in the fence.
They're on the fence. They might go. You had the ones that like they strictly little girls. Then you had the ones on the fence.
Yeah. The guys were purely heterosexual. We didn't divulge in those types of behaviors. But the guys on the fence are more those are the guys I tend to see, but we usually just kind of just ignore them and let them play in their own corner.
Yeah, I didn't never have a problem with them because it was a couple that went to school with me. I never had a problem with them. Like I like the one that was flat out there.
Yeah.
We never had issues because I was like they did their thing and we left them alone. We were like they ain't bothering me, so we ain't gonna bother them. Yeah. It like you said, it be the ones that's on the fence that keep playing. It's like, bro, I believe you like boys. You like boys. You go like boys. I like girls.
Yeah. No, because
we call it a gaydar.
Yeah, the gaydar. Yeah, the gaydar.
The gaydar.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against them.
Oh yeah, we have
I
no.
live here. My brother is gay.
I got family members. I got family members part of that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, we're just talking about, people pretending, to be straight.
I think he's posing.
Yeah, just if that's what you are, just say it. I'm not gonna be mad. It's just like, okay, you like boys, all right, cool. It is what it is. Because it was a guy that used to work with me that was just flat out, because he didn't hide it from nobody. And me and him used to have conversations every day at work. And the women would come up to me and like, he gay. I'm like, and so what? He ain't trying to get with me. We and him having conversations about work. He not hitting on me and I'm not hitting on him. We just having conversations with work. I'm just letting you know he gay. I'm like, I know he gay, but I don't care. As long as he don't mess with me, I'm not gonna mess with him. We can work together for 8 hours and it ain't gonna bother me. So
good.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence with Myron. I don't think he is, but I would say I do understand the perception of people why they think.
Yeah,
because one of the things that's alarming to me is if you're confident in who you are, you don't need to over-explain that to everyone, right? So if somebody made a video about me and maybe got some like weird pictures about me back in the day, say, hey, look, this guy has some weird photos and look, he's gay. For me, that's your opinion, but I'm not. I know I'm not gay, so I don't. I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm not gonna make multiple videos or try to convince people to please, believe me. No, no. I think when you try to over explain or try to over defend that you're not something that people think you are, I think, and you get angry or you get mad or you show some emotion about how people think or their perception of you. I think for me that could be I mean, it's not a guarantee, but for me, when people tend to make that type of behavior, especially to try to prove something that's not a lie. We see this with politicians, we see this with people with in the public space. It's like if you didn't do it, just say I'm not gay. End of story. I'm not talking about this again, and keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Because I remember when I was in 12th grade, and I used to always sit at a table full of girls at lunch. I would never be standing up on the wall with the guys, and they used to think I was gay. And one of them asked me, like, you like boys? I'm like, no. It's like I'm sitting at the table with these girls because they're helping me with my work. It's like I'm using these girls to help me with my schoolwork. Like some of them girls got me through 12th grade. So I'm just being nice to them. But they asked me, I'm like, hey, okay, I got you. As long as you can help me with my homework, as long as you can help me with this English paper, I'm right here at the table with y'all. I'm not over there with them. I'm trying to help see what y'all got going on because y'all helping me. But the perception was because I was so friendly with them that I was trying to be a girl. I'm like, no, I like girls. It's just that they're helping me get out of school. It's about 6, 7 of them. I'm sitting at the table with them every day at lunch, and I'm like, can one of y'all help me with this? Can one of y'all help me with that? Because I'm slow. I'm crazy. I'm like, I'm not doing my work. Like certain class, I'm doing my work in. Certain class, I'm going to sleep. I'm working. I'm going to sleep in class. I don't know none of the lessons, no homework or nothing. Can y'all help me? I got you. Would you need a couple of dollars? I'll buy you a lunch. Whatever you need, just help me get out of 12th grade. So, perception of motherfucker, really.
All right. But yeah, I just want to have one last question I want to ask you guys before we got kind of conclude and wrap up the pod. I see Phil Jr. Good to see you on the live chat. Menelik, good to see you. Prudy, good to see you. Lord Punisher, good to see you. I do appreciate you guys for jumping on and being on the live stream. But yeah, constantly let me know what you guys think about tonight's conversation. I know we kind of veered off topic. But do men skip over the man they supposed to marry? But I just want to have one last question because this is something that was brought up in the clip that we saw earlier in the beginning. Do you think that dating, the reason why, because I've had this conversation on previous podcasts before. It's I think the dating dynamic and process today, I think it's a waste of time. Hookup culture, situationships, dating the talking stage, dating without a commitment or a title. I think what people are participating today and how they date, I think it's a waste of time. Anton was talking about, well, if you are dating with intention for the purpose of getting married, and you also brought up good examples. There's a lot that I'm not saying that the traditional methods were absolutely perfect, but I think there were methods that they used that was conducive for vetting out a good quality partner for long term, for family. You brought up one of them was involving your family and people outside of your relationship, so they could kind of give you a more objective view and of your partner. Sometimes especially if you're young, number one, you lack experience, you don't know what the hell you're doing, and then the honeymoon phase at the beginning that can blind us a lot when it comes to red flags. So I think it's a good method to involve, especially people that really care about you, who's going to be upfront with you and tell you the absolute truth, but not for the intent of trying to hurt you or sabotage your relationship, but for the intent that they want the best for you, but they're going to keep it honest with you. And I think if you have good family members, a mother, a father, especially if they replicate the example of the type of relationship you're looking for, they know what they're talking about. So you should be able to add that to your process. But do you agree with on that clip Anton was speaking about? If you're dating just to date today, which probably majority of the country are participating in that type of dating process, do you think is an absolute waste of time? If you're just dating right now, just a date with no intention, no purpose, um, you're hoping and wishing, even though I dislike those two words, I like the words that Big Dog used. You plan for marriage, you prepare for your marriage. You're dating with intention of marriage, right? There's intention behind why you're dating somebody, right? Why you're investing your time and resources, especially your time, because time is something that we don't never. That's probably the greatest resource in the world. You never get back. You never get time back. So for me, it just doesn't make sense. I'm gonna date somebody just to date for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You're never gonna get that years back if you're just dating somebody, but there's no confirmation of where is this gonna go long term. Especially if you're having sex, which is a whole nother conversation because there's a lot of consequences and cons when it comes to having sex with somebody that you don't really know that's a long-term committed partner. So, but do you guys agree? What's your response to that? I'll start with you, all, and we can conclude the podcast with that. Do you think if people are just dating the day today, do you think that it's just a waste of time? You're wasting your time.
Absolutely. And it's unfair to both parties, especially the other person. I kind of have this motto, I don't have time to play.
Yeah.
Because my intention when I date is to marry somebody. So I'm not going to waste my time or theirs because I want to know where I fit into their life as the helpmeet. Like, I get excited about like the idea of, greeting a guy after he gets off work, with some type of special thing, like a sandwich. Because when you make a sandwich with love, it tastes better.
Yeah. Did you see that? You see that viral video of that girl that just every single time her husband came back from work?
Yes, I loved it.
She would just jump and hug him and jump on him and hug him and kiss him.
Yeah. Like I already pray for, my future husband wherever he is. But I am praying that I am also molded to be the woman that he needs. And so when like things are changing and shifting in my life, I don't idolize it. Like I'm not like, okay, he must need this, but I'm growing as an individual. And I was wondering if I could, because it's related, I was wondering if I could share this. It's titled Date with Intention and Directness. And it's questions to know yourself, like, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is what I expect. This is where I am going. This is what I want our future to look like. Know what you want. Know what you need. Know who you want. What kind of person that they need to be. And then my little motto, no time to play. But I want somebody whose life I can make better. I want to be a blessing to a man's life. I don't want to be that like ball and chain headache for him. I want to see the prayers that I've prayed for him come true in his life, because the more that he is elevated, the more I would feel connected to God.
Yeah.
I know it sounds kind of weird, but like I'm praying for.
It's weird that you have to say it's weird in today's time. That's normal. That's like that's absolutely rational way of thinking.
Yeah,
like
yeah. I want to find ways to make his life better and more beautiful and easier. But I don't want to be taken for granted. And so that ties into asking people that are in my life to pray for my relationships, to help me vet, because sometimes I don't trust myself to do that. Yeah. Because my dad's dead, so I can't really go, hey dad, what do you think about this? And that also makes me a good target for those that don't have good intentions. So I have to really be focused on my intentions. So when it comes to just dating, just to have somebody because society tells me that I'm worthless, because I don't have a man, because society does,
Yeah,
but
true.
you can't internalize that. I can't date just to date because I don't believe it would be fair to either party's time.
And then the one last question before I pass it to Big Dog. Can you think of any benefit of just dating just to date, just if you're going to play devil's advocate to the opposite side? Is there at least one benefit that's for just to date, just to date? No. Okay. All right. All right. No worries. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate those words and what you read. Yeah, that was really powerful. And same thing, I'll pass it to you, Big Dog. Yeah, if you're just dating just to date, do you think it's just an absolute waste of time? That's what Anton said, especially if you're looking for a long-term committed relationship and marriage and family, or is there a benefit to date just to date?
I mean, my thing is, how can you know for sure that the person you supposed to marry is the person you supposed to marry if you don't date? It's like just like how do y'all know y'all compatible if y'all don't date?
Well, I think it's the definition of dating, right? I think there's a difference between courting and dating.
Okay, so if okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Now dating just to be dating, now like I wouldn't recommend it unless you just like, if we're gonna play devil's advocate as a man, I be dating just to get some sex. If I was just dating to be dating, I would do that. Like, yeah, but majority of the time when I had girlfriends. I didn't just have something like, I had girls that I was serious with, and I had girls that it was just like, I just call them when I want to get some, and I just hang the phone up. So right now, it's like if we're in a situation where don't nobody trust nobody, then ain't no sense of nobody just being with anybody. Cause like what y'all gonna do is like y'all gonna get together, y'all gonna have a one night stand, and you might get pregnant, you might catch an STD or whatever the case may be, or you trying to turn this one night stand to a long-term relationship. You really just like Andrea said, you just being with somebody because society told you you ain't nothing if you ain't got nobody. Yeah. And you really ain't doing no dating, no communicating, you just together, and just like on time, y'all really on one accord is when y'all naked. Outside of that, y'all arguing, y'all going through each other's phones, y'all out all night. It's just a whole lot of mess. But if you just trying to get if a woman just trying to get a dinner date out of a guy, or a dude just trying to get some sex out of a female, I'm like, hey, go ahead and go for what you know. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah. I think I do agree. I think, like, from my stance is, if you don't want a family, if you don't want a long-term committed relationship, if you don't want to get married, and you're content just being happy by yourself for the rest of your life, I think dating just to date maybe benefit you, but I think if your outcome that you want for your life is you want a long-term committed relationship, you want a good, healthy partner, you want some good kids, you want to raise some good kids and good family, to be productive members of society, to your community, to our people, then I think dating with intention. And I think there's a misconception of courting. I think sometimes when people talk about courting, they often say their criticism is, well, I mean, courting just seems too controlling. Like, you don't, there's like, when do you have fun and when do you go out with this person, spend time with this person? No, you can court somebody and still go out with them on a dinner, go out, to an event, have fun. But courting is you're dating with intention and you're having hard conversations with this person. So you're still having fun. We're not saying that not to have fun with this person. Well, what we are saying is have your fun when you go on dates, but you have to set aside time. And hey, look, there's gonna be a date where we're solely just gonna sit down and talk about the future, about the things that we need to get off our chest, that we know that this is something that's important to me in a long-term relationship, and have to be upfront with it right now. I need to know what's your response to it right now. So I think that's one of the arguments people use. Well, I don't want to date for attention because, what if I just want to have fun and just want to explore? Yeah, then go do that. Like, go have fun and find people that don't want no intention to have fun. And if you want to go out there and be sexually liberated, yeah, go have that. But my thing is, what is your response or backup plan to when a child comes into this world? That's why I don't agree with hookup culture or just dating for a date. Because I think it's as a society as a whole, especially when I believe that the foundation of society is based on a good nuclear family. I think the consequences of having sex is just too high. That you're gonna bring somebody into this world, and unfortunately, when you do that, that the person that this innocent John is gonna come into this world now has to pay. It's gonna have a hard life because not even for their own. They didn't decide on that. You decided on that because you decided to have fun and not really think about the long-term future and how it affects everybody. So, yeah, I think that's what's happening. A lot of people is I think when people have fun, and then when the reality comes, especially when children are involved, that's when people start running around to look for more competent, responsible, and dutiful, and people with like strong duties and responsibility. But unfortunately, you didn't align yourself with those types of people. So because you just dated for dating, and that's one of the consequences of dating for intent, dating for just a date. Because when reality hits, that's when you need the good people the most. But the good people, they're dating with intention. They're looking for good quality people as well. So, but yeah, that's what I hear from a lot of people is that they kind of assume people who court or go the traditional method. They think that these people don't have fun or these people don't have a good, sexual intimacy or intimate life. Now, people who are married for long periods of time, especially the healthy relationships, they have a healthy relationship. They do all those things that you guys do on dating. They just do it with somebody they're committed to. That's the difference. But yeah, that's my mom. But I just wanted to ask you guys that question because I do agree with Anton. I think if you're just dating, just to date right now with no intention or purpose, I think there's too many risks involved, especially when you talk about children, having kids. I think that's especially in a very sexualized society. I think it's too much of a risk, and I think it's too unfair for those kids because I have people like that in that situation, right? Not only personal friends, but family members. They came from a very tough household because they didn't have both their parents. Luckily for me, I was blessed. Both my parents are still married to this day. They're still committed. They still love each other. So that's one thing I can always fall back to because I know the internet will try to convince a lot of people out there that doesn't exist. But I'm blessed. I got to see that. I understand today in America that it's a privilege to have that. So, but yeah, if you're watching this right now, and if you're dating just a date, I don't like using the word hope, but I just hope you don't have to pay the consequences that comes with it. And I think it's just too high right now. It's just too high. But I'll pass it back to you guys. We're gonna conclude the show. Thank you so much, Big Dog, for jumping on. Thank you for jumping on for tonight. First time on the show, first time on the panel. We had some great conversation. Appreciate it. Definitely would love to have you back on the panel as well. But what's your final thoughts from tonight's conversation, and how can they find you? And I'll start with you all. What's your final thoughts, and how can they find you?
My final thoughts is I appreciate both of you gentlemen a lot. I loved hearing your perspectives on things. It helped me to realize your perspectives more and gain some understanding and see that we have more similarities than differences with a lot of things. You can find me on Twitter or X at IBTC Queen. Instagram is Andrea Epting. That's the handle for that. But yeah, no, I had a really good time. Thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate it a lot.
No, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're the real MVP. You know, I know I did send out an invite, and you're the only one that came through. So thank you so much. Thank you for making the time and being the MVP for tonight's
I
panel.
was so nervous. This is the first podcast I've ever done, and I can't stand being on video. So it was really breaking out of my shell.
That's good.
So I appreciate it.
All right, no worries. I appreciate from coming out and being on the pod tonight. And Big Dog, as always, thank you for jumping on the panel. Final thoughts and how can they find you, Big Dog?
First of all, Andrea, I'm glad you popped your cherry tonight. So go do this. So don't be ashamed of the camera. You are a very attractive woman. So take that as you may. But it was a nice conversation. It usually be more people up here. I'm surprised that nobody jump up here today. No, I don't know what happened. But it was nice to talking to you, Andrea. It was nice to get your perspective on things. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, we have more similarities than differences. And it was a nice conversation. I appreciate that. But you can find me on YouTube at Big Dog Barking. And you can find me on Instagram at Big Dog Barking. And it is what it is. Come holler at me and we're gonna chop it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Big Dog. Yeah, usually we have I do send out a big invite to everybody, but yeah, for tonight, I don't know. I think they saw the words, they saw the topic, skipping over the man they're supposed to marry. Maybe they talk about me.
You think that would have
I know. I'm just being playful. No, I don't know. But yeah. Thank you so much for being part of the panel. Big Dog, as always, thank you so much. And everybody on the live chat, appreciate you guys. Gas Mask, yeah, it was low key. Good show today. Yeah, we had a good conversation. Phil, always appreciate you guys being part of the panel. But we do this every single Wednesday. I also send an open invite to everybody out there to jump on Wednesday. We always have a topic to discuss that the people go back and forth on other platforms. We try to break it down to find some common ground and some solutions. But definitely, if you see value in the content, please smash that like, subscribe button real quick. But and Big Dog, thank you so much for your time. You guys all
Thank you.
Peace, y'all. Have a good night, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I leave.